Hello everyone, in this video we're going to have a quick look on how to combine melee with inventory for equipping weapons. So here we are in our scene. We've got the camera shot, all of the basics, and the player I've only attached the bag. So just so we can see the equipment. So I'm using the default inventory skin, default equipment, all default from the examples. I did set up a couple of basics here. So we've got locomotion. We've got a one melee combo, a one dual blade combo, and a one two-handed combo. So those are the three weapon types we're setting up. So melee will automatically be equipped if we don't have any weapons. We've got rogue, so two small blades, and we've got two-handed, one big weapon. And yeah, that's what we're going to be setting up. So those are the types. The melee weapons themselves are just basic. So I've added all of the default here because that's not part of the video. So added all of the default for the from one of the examples. Just make sure the right locomotion state is attached, and we've got a single combo just to make sure it all works. And then this is all literally duplicate. So same stuff, but for the three types. So let's set this up. And by the way, in case you don't know how to do this, right click and then melee weapon. I'd advise that if you don't know how to do this, to first check the examples before you get into something a bit more advanced, like combining inventory and melee together. I set up the states beforehand just to save time. This actually takes a lot of time just dragging in animations, so that's why I did it beforehand. Cool. So we're going to get started with variables. So we need a ton of variables. Name variables. Combat. There we go. So yeah, we need like I said, we kind of need a ton of them. So we're going to start off with right hand holder. And I'll explain the functionality of all of these throughout as well. But basically the idea is that this is where our mesh will instantiate. Right hand temp 0.1 and then temp 0.2. So this is the temporary location where we're saving this instantiated item. We need two of them, one for the hand and one for the body, where we'll display if we're not equipping a weapon. And then let's drag this one down. So this is then a left hand holder, and then left hand temp 1 and temp 2. All of this will make a lot more sense once we start setting it up, don't worry. Just make sure we have all of these. Then next up, we need another reference, and this is melee draw and melee sheath. So this is where we're going to be storing the actions that are going to be doing the unequip and equip animation together with equipping the right weapon. So really short set of instructions. And let's actually start by setting those up just so we're done with them. Actions, there we go. Gesture. Then from my animations, I will need rogue in place. Going to do equip 2. So basically that's equipping from the back. It doesn't really matter what animation packs you're using, right? This is about the logic. But in case you are interested, these are from We Make the Game. Really nice animations. Draw rogue. There we go. Really nice animations, really complete. They're one of the few that actually does two-handed well from what I've seen, where two-handed hammers are actually really heavy and it shows in the animations, what I really like. We're going to mask this as well. So I'm just using this one, Brawl Defend. It's in the examples. And then equip melee weapon, and then we're going to be equipping, I can just look it up like this, rogue. There we go. So that's actions draw rogue. Then we'll duplicate this. Then actions sheath rogue. So we'll need the unequip animation, which is in here as well. There we go. And we'll need the unequip instruction as well. And that's the rogue. There we go. Cool. So those are the basics. We don't need any of this for normal melee hand to hand. We'll do that directly, so we don't need a set of actions for that. Then let's duplicate these for two-handed. Let's copy that name. There we go. And then here as well. Perfect. So we'll need the two-handed animations. Now, in my case, the two-handed animations are really long. And when I say really long, I mean really long. For the rogue, it's like sheath, of course. Sorry. For the rogue animation set, it's 0.8 seconds, which is a good length. Almost too long already, because you want this to be quick in gameplay. When you look at Assassin's Creed, for example, when you don't have the weapons drawn and you attack, it just instantly attacks. There's not even an animation. That's not because they don't care about visual fidelity. It's simply because it's faster. The faster it is, the better it is for gameplay. So really long drawing animations are they're just annoying, basically, when it comes to gameplay. So we're going to speed this one up. So 2.5. Oh, and that's delay. Sorry about that. So speed. There we go. And then here as well, speed. There we go. So maybe this is a bit fast, but I need it to be fast because they're just really slow animations. Doesn't look perfect. I'll be honest. Like if this would have been my game, I would have simply modified the rogue animation in UMotion Pro to match the end state of two-handed. That's literally what I would have done, because you want it to be matching all. So I understand that not everyone has time for that, but it's I would make the effort to do that, because you want it all to match, and ideally you want all draw animations to be the exact same length, to even look pretty much the same, except for the end state of the pose. So I would make that effort if you're actually doing a game and not just a little experiment. Anyway, enough of that. Let's drag these in. So actions. Oh. There we go. So we've got our actions all set up. Perfect. Let's get rid of that. So we've got our full set of variables here as well. And then now next up, what we need to do, we'll create an empty here. So what we need to do is create the right hand melee, and then there we go, all 0, striker component. So this is basically the component attached to your hand. You have to keep in mind, like, this seems really big, right? It doesn't match your hand. It shouldn't match your hand because, you know, for your hit detection, you want the hit detection to be good. Your animations are never going to be exactly perfectly lining up in combat. And if you make this the size of your hand, your hit detection will be horrible. Let's just keep it as that. So this is seems pretty big, but it actually makes a lot of sense in gameplay. We need an ID for this, so I'm just gonna do right hand, keep it simple, and then here we need a new one, and this is going to be left hand, and that's for melee. Now for melee it's really simple because there's no weapons, so it's quite a simple setup. Left hand, but of course it's going to be a bit more complex for the ones where we do use weapons, and when I say a bit more I mean a lot more. Rogue, left hand rogue, and I'm just doing rogue as like a sort of class, so it's not literally the name of the weapon. And then yeah, we're not going to duplicate those yet, because for rogue there's a couple of extra steps. So we can already drop in this here and this here. There we go. But for yeah, for rogue we'll need to do a couple of extra steps. So what we're going to do, I'm using Cinti Dungeons or something. What is it? Polygon Dungeon. Yeah, it's quite a simple pack, but it has weapons, and that's pretty much all I need. So I'm going to be using this Shiv Bone, and then Shiv Bone for the other hand. There we go. And for now that's good enough, so we can store these. I think we can collapse the animations for now as well. There we go. And perfect. So these are temporary, but we need to make sure it works. So we'll do attach prop, and then do player or self. I think self is slightly better. That way, if you do it for enemies, it will work as well, for example. So, and then self, and then right hand rogue, duplicate, and then left hand, and then left hand rogue. Where is left hand rogue? Cool. We can already copy this over for melee, by the way. Duplicate it once, and then this was left hand, and then just drag in the melee ones. Cool. So yeah, that's basically the setup. So of course we need to unequip. We need to remove these props as well. There we go. Now luckily we don't need to assign a bone here, so it's actually quite straightforward. Just drag in those prefabs. Awesome. Copy that over on rogue. Oh, has to be in unequip, of course, and then duplicate that again, and let's get in those rogue ones, and there we go. Perfect. So now when we're equipping, it will attach those striker components to our hands. Now how do we make sure that the ones for rogue actually have a visible weapon that is set by the inventory module? That's the whole point. This is like if you're only going to have one weapon mesh, for example, you don't need to do all of this setup. You can literally just do, well, what I'm going to do right now, just have the mesh straight away. However, for those setting up RPGs or games with multiple different types of meshes for for a weapon type, this is going to be the setup. So it's quite a bit more elaborate, but it's a one-time thing you need to set up, and then you're pretty much done. So going to keep the sphere the same size, and we're going to place it here. That's pretty good. And then we're going to create a empty. And which one is this? Okay, right hand. So this will be right hand holder. So this is going to be referring back to those variables we set up before. So let's add a trigger on enable. There we go. And then instantiate, sorry. Global variable. And then we're instantiating our right hand holder. Now for position, we're going to do this. So game object position, and then drag in the game object, rotation, game object rotation, and drag in the object. So it's more reliable than doing set values. For some reason, set values can mess things up a bit. The parent as well, so game objects, and then this is the parent itself, so it's going to be a child of the holder. And then save, and this is where we're going to be using the first temporary value, which is going to be right hand temp. So on enable, it's going to instantiate whatever object is placed in this variable. It's going to make sure the position rotation matches this, and it's going to make sure we save that temporarily here. Now that does mean that if we use this right hand holder like this for multiple weapons, the meshes are going to be stacking on top of each other. So we don't want that, so that's why we have that temporary value. So we're first going to be destroying that temporary value. And that's this one. So it's instantiating it, saving it here, and then it's going to destroy it at the start. So that way, if we reuse this one, which we will for multiple weapons, like we'll have the rogue movement animation type basically for multiple different meshes, multiple different weapons. So you want to make sure that they don't stack. So this is the approach. Quite simple. And then we're going to copy this over, and we're going to do that in left hand rogue as well. And then make it a child. There we go. And then just change all the values to left hand. So left hand temp. If we rename this, this will already rename, so perfect. Then here, left hand temp again, and here left hand holder. So yeah, and that's it. Now we still have the mesh here, and that's because of positioning. We need to make sure this positions properly. So we're going to do this in play mode. So trigger, on start, equip melee weapon, and then we're going to be equipping rogue. Save. Perfect. So there we have it. So yeah, now we'll need to rotate these. Now the important part, and this is really crucial, don't rotate the mesh, rotate the parent. So left hand rogue, this one, that's the one we need the rotation of, not the mesh. Something like this. I'm not gonna pretend it's perfect, it's the idea. Most likely you're using different meshes anyway, and if you're not, then you know, experiment until you've got it right. It's basically how this works. yeah, and Unity doesn't have a unified rig system, so that's why it has to be done like this. Cool. So that looks acceptable. Not great, acceptable. There we go. Yeah, good enough. Barely, but good enough. Cool. So right now what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to copy over these values. So component. Don't exit play mode. Please don't do that. And then I'm going to copy those values over here. So paste and then paste values. And then I'm going to basically invert this. So wherever there's minus, I'm going to add more to it. There we go. There we go. So yeah, that's it. So yeah, for some reason that's most of the time in rigs, you know, it's literally just the opposite value for the other hand. No idea why, but that's what I found out. So cool. Now don't exit play mode, please don't. And we'll need to take a snip of the positioning here. So there we go, snip that. I'll do the same for right hand, snip, and there we go. So I have them on my second screen, by the way, in case you're wondering what happened to my snips. Now we can exit play mode. Then on the weapon, so on weapon rogue, we're going to be entering those values. So right hand, perfect. And yeah, this is the opposite. And I forgot a dot here. Not paying attention. There we go. What am I doing? I'm mixing up, I'm looking at both snips at the same time and I'm messing things up. Sorry about that. There we go, 1.8 and 9.317. Perfect. If for some reason, like what I did, like duplicating and inverting, it doesn't work and you're using Cinti, most likely you need to adjust your positioning a bit, because it's a pretty good indicator that it's not like kind of straight in the hand. But yeah, anyway, so that's it. So those are the values. Now if I'm going to hit play, we can collapse this. Cool. Perfect. Yeah, that's it. Then next step is we need to add those holders on the back later as well. We'll do that a bit later. We're actually going to be doing a couple of other things first. So where are we with... Yeah, so we got the values, we got all of that. So let's actually, just to finish this off, there we go. Let's unpack these, and then we can get rid of the model, by the way, here. Oh, I did something wrong. Oh, for some reason I made that a child. Okay, that's weird. Then we'll call this two-handed. And then here as well. There we go. And then we'll need to drag in a model for that too. So again, I'm using, we've got hammer, large metal. Now my animations actually have the left hand be the primary here. So I'm going to be using the left hand as a primary. Cool. Then let's save those. Oh yeah, and before we forget, let's set this to 0 again. So the reason we're still doing a right hand, by the way, in case you're wondering, is because you know, if for some reason you have an animation where it uses the end of the weapon, so actually the, don't know what you call it, but the hilt or something, you want that to be a possibility. So you always want to have the option for the right hand to be used as well. Or in an attack, he actually uses his right hand to just punch. No clue, but you know, just in case. Sweet. So right hand, left hand. So we'll need to save those again. And then here as well. Perfect. So let's set up that weapon as well. So let's copy this over. And let's copy this over. Can already duplicate this. So right hand two-handed and left hand two-handed. So this is the right hand. We need to reset these values all to 0, by the way, because otherwise the positioning in play mode, like I did before, won't work well. And then this one, and then here left two-handed, and make sure it's the left hand. Cool. So basically same thing. So let's drag this in. So weapon two-handed, and we'll need to adjust that as well. Cool. This will need to rotate a lot. Again, make sure you select the parent, not the mesh. That's often where this goes wrong, if you accidentally selected the wrong one. You know what? That's actually it's not perfect, but it's surprisingly close for a first attempt. Okay, let's rotate this a bit. Now here's the thing, like there's you know, there's definitely something something important to note here when it comes to two-handed animations, attacks like these. It's actually quite hard to see. I've got a lot of sunshine in front of my face, so there we go. About yeah. Yeah, so ideally you have a for the second hand, if it's on the same weapon, you have an IK solution that basically makes sure this hand stays stuck here. I've got that in Easy Template Kit RPG, so there's an IK solution for that. If you don't have an IK solution and you want it to look really good, most likely you'll need to adjust all of your animations. So that's why I'm talking about an IK solution, because yeah, that's really time consuming if you even know how to do it. So yeah, definitely get an inverse kinematic solution for that. Cool. I'm good with this. This is good enough. Let's make sure I didn't touch this mesh. Okay, good. So same trick. I'm going to copy this over. There we go. Have that on my second screen. We're going to go out of play mode. Then on the two-handed, on the left hand, we'll need to adjust these values. And yeah, for the right hand, we don't actually need to do anything here, which is good. Perfect. So yeah, that's pretty much it. So those are the prefabs, so we know at least the positioning is right. Now on these, so let's start with left-handed 2. We can just remove this one now. And then left-hand rogue, same thing, we can just remove that. And right-hand rogue, we can remove that as well. So it's the model is now going to be instantiated in the holder. Cool. So yeah, this was the slightly annoying part. Let's head over to something else. So next step is going to be the items, the inventory items. So let's create those as well. So create. There we go. And this is hammer metal, I think it was metal hammer. Cool. Make sure the parent is the one you have assigned in your for the equipment you're using. So all of this needs to match with each other. You have an issue with that, most likely something is not matching. Make sure is equipable is turned on. Then we'll call it metal hammer. There we go. I'm just doing a sprite because we need something. So this is the hammer now. Because yeah, otherwise it looks weird in the inventory UI. Not going to mess with stats and things like that. That's different type of videos. So usage can be closed as well. Sockets can be closed. So we're just going to be messing with this now. So on equip, set game object. We'll be doing this a lot now. So let's make this smaller. Global variable combat. So we're going to be setting right hand holder. Let's start with the left hand holder. Sorry, this is the hammer, right? So left hand holder, let's set a mesh. Hammer, large metal. There we go. Need to set a mesh. We don't need anything for the right hand holder in this case, in terms of a model. So we're good there. Then going to be let's just duplicate this one. So let's now change this to melee draw. So we're going to do go back to our states. So actions draw two-handed. So if you remember, this is where we actually have our gesture to like our animation to draw and actually equip the actions. So that's the thing. When we're equipping this, we're not straight away equipping the actual melee weapon. We're first going to be attaching it to the back of the player, and then only if you draw your weapon yourself, then it's going to be drawing. So yeah, pretty straightforward. So we need to set those draw instructions. We also need to be setting the sheath instructions. So sheath, two-handed. There we go. And then yeah, that's pretty much pretty much it. So left hand holder, let's copy this on unequip, and then set this to none. Really important, we need to empty it as well. And yeah, we're good here. Obviously, normally this is where you're going to be adding your stats changes and things like that as well. Same with unequip. Cool. So we've got this set up, hammer metal. It's got a right name, right? Metal hammer. Yeah, cool. So now we need to make sure that we actually display something on the back of the player as well. So it doesn't really matter which one. Let's just take the rogue one. So left hand holder, let's copy that over. And then we're going to be assigning that on the player. So I'm going to do it on spine 2 because there's a bit less movement in spine 2 than spine 3 with most animations. So, it seems like I still had them from my test. Yeah, that's just going to be easier actually. So basically, they're the left hand holder and right hand holder. So now let me just do it properly. Let me do it properly. There we go. So left hand holder. So we've got that here now. We'll be needing to move that around as well. We'll do that in play mode. No need to do that right now. And then we're going to do change the on enable to variable change. Oh, sorry about that. Variable change. So name variable. We'll drag in our variables combat. And then this is the left hand holder. We'll start with that. So left hand holder. Now this is where why we set up that second temporary one, because otherwise when we equip the melee weapon, so this actual melee weapon, we'll be destroying that temporary value, so we'll be destroying whatever is attached to the back. Now that does work for when you're equipping. Unfortunately, when you unequip, you want to display it again, and that's where it doesn't work. So that's why we need the 2 temporary values. Perfect. We can literally just duplicate this and call this right hand holder. Change this to right hand. There we go. So the moment we equip the inventory item, it's going to be setting this mesh for both the back of the player and the melee weapon. We just don't want them to be active at the same time. So that's the next step in the setup. Once we make it look visually appealing, let's just say it like that. Cool. So yeah, we've got these values. And most likely it's going to be something like this. Yeah. Now, if you want to be really accurate and precise, obviously these will be slightly different values, you know, for knives, etc. So you might actually have to set up multiple. That's up to you, depending on how precise you want to be. Cool. So we've got these. So let's now do it the right way. So I'm going to be removing this instruction. So on start, we're going to add item, which is where is it? What did I call it? Hammer metal. There we go. We're going to equip item, and that's hammer metal. There we go. So yeah, looks horrible. Anyway, so we didn't set up anything to actually equip stuff yet. So we'll do that in a bit. But yeah, it's attaching it to the back of the player. Cool. going to do something real simple for now. I'm just going to be there we go, rotating at 180. I think that will be a decent start. So yeah, we've got it kind of ready. So now let's set up some logic here so we can actually test these things out. So we're adding the item. So we're going to add a trigger that allows us to input button, keyboard, press I, so we can open up our inventory because we want to see that as well. Open bag. Yep, there we go. Perfect. Cool. Let's add another trigger. Keyboard input, keyboard press. I'm going to use Q to draw the weapon because E most of the time is interaction button, so it doesn't make a lot of sense. So we'll do Q to draw the weapon. Then we're going to be running some conditions. And let's create those. Perfect. Now for the conditions, I'm going to set up the entire thing from and explaining it step by step. So first off, if we have no melee weapon equipped, so from the melee module, and then doesn't matter, so current equipped. If we have nothing equipped, but we do have an inventory item equipped, which we did on start, so we're equipping that. So equipped and this will be right hand. There we go. Then we are going to be running instructions, which is global variable, which is the one we set up. So those are the draw instructions. So it's going to be drawing whatever is stored in there at the moment. Then at the same time, we're going to be setting these on the back to inactive. So the weapon is always going to be there, the model, as long as the inventory item is equipped. But we don't want to see it once we have it equipped on the hands. So hope that makes sense. Yeah, hope it makes sense. Now let's duplicate that. Now what if we don't have a melee weapon equipped at all? So in the no inventory item equipped, so basically nothing in the hands. When we press the button, we still want to equip something, and we want to equip melee. So equip melee weapon, and then weapon melee. So as long as we don't have a inventory item, mesh, whatever, on the right hand, we want to equip the melee weapon. Hope that makes sense. Then this basically covers everything with a mesh, and this covers everything without a mesh, which is just melee. Cool. Then let's duplicate this branch. I'm going to drag it down here. We want to do kind of the opposite here. So if we do have a melee weapon equipped and we do have right hand equipped as well, what are we going to do is we're going to be running the sheath condition, sheath instructions. and then wait another 0.2 seconds and enable these holders again. So we want them to be visible again, and that's it. That's the setup. And then for if we don't have a there we go. So if we don't have an inventory item, we want to do the opposite. So we're going to equip melee, unequip, sorry. Unequip melee weapon, and then we're going to unequip melee. Now, in order for this logic to be a bit more accurate, so this is the last one, so technically this should be accurate. However, we're going to do something to avoid any issues, so this one is irrelevant. We're going to change this to melee weapon, and this straight up to this one. So we want to make sure there's no complications here. Technically, this should not be necessary. But you know, it avoids any exceptions. So yeah, there we go. So perfect. This should cover everything. So let's actually give this a try. So I think we've got all of our instructions. Let's do another little trigger so we can actually input button, so we can actually perform a melee attack. Keyboard. Let's do oh no, not keyboard. Let's do mouse. Mouse press left. Input execute A. There we go. So normally this should work. So I'm keeping this open just so we can actually see what's happening to the holders. So I thought I changed that. Okay, I remember the issue. We'll address that in a bit. Anyway, so now if I press Q, oh, it's doing rogue. I made a mistake here. I made a mistake. Okay, let's have a quick look. So yeah, real quick on this, by the way, this has to be global. On the back of the player, it has to be global. I'm not sure why. I'm not going to pretend I know why, but it has to be global. Cool. So it seems that in the instructions, rogue and two-handed draws rogue as well. That makes a lot of sense now. There we go. Most likely on sheath, it's going to be the same. Yeah, there it is. Of course, just duplicated it without changing it. Let's try that again. Okay, so at least I know my rotation is wrong. Let's draw this, and then it all works. Sweet. Nice one. And then it's going to attach it again. Now, let's actually keep this for now. That's actually pretty good. So we know the mistake. So let's all set this to 0. Cool, that seems pretty good. Now in this case, left hand holder, right hand holder, we can actually just copy this over. So copy component, we'll go out of play mode and then paste it in. And paste it in here as well. There we go. Now yeah, should work fine. Let's have a look. Let's try it out now. And if this works, we can head over to the rogue as well. So yeah, that looks fine. Such a slow animation, but it looks cool. It actually feels heavy, which is what I which is what I like. Even the walk animations are slow. I actually really appreciate that. Makes it really feel impactful, which is really cool. Now, in order to avoid this, so if I attack now and I press on unequip, it's going to be a mess. So a small trick to avoid those issues. So if we go here and we go to the unequip, we want to basically add something else. So state, no, it's not called state. What is it called? Melee, phase, sorry, phase. So we want to make sure that none and even recovery, I'm going to include this, is in here. So that means that if we're actually in the attack, reaction, charge, anticipation, strike phase, we can't unequip our weapon. So we can only do it if we're not attacking, basically. So let's let me draw it right now. So I draw it, and now if I click on Q, nothing happens, and now it works. Cool. Now this could be smoother, you know, play around with timings and things like that, but it's the logic is firm. Cool. Then actually, one last little test. So normally it should now work with melee as well. So we actually have melee combat if we don't have a weapon. So I'm going to go to my inventory. We have our metal hammer, unequip, close the inventory, and if I press Q now, we're actually doing melee. So yeah, really really cool. So that way you always have your melee in case you don't have a weapon, which I know a lot of people ask for as well. So nice one. Now the last step is just making sure we also have rogue, so the two-handed blades basically. Hammer metal. So shiv bone. Rename the ID. There we go. And then yeah, we'll need to change that model to goblin shiv bone. Here we go. The actions draw needs to be rogue. And sheath needs to be rogue as well. That's mostly for the animations and the weapon, of course. And that's it. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Shiv bone. Cool. And then we need to make sure that well, I kind of want to show you how flexible this is for if you're doing a lot of inventory items. So let's do shiv metal as well. Oh no, I think it was called shiv metal, could be wrong. Shiv metal, new ID, shiv metal, and then it was stone. Close enough. Let's see if it if it looks close enough to metal for the name to kind of stick and not stand out too much. Yeah, so we got that. So we got shiv stone. And then the rest is all going to be the same. There's not really a difference. Now, obviously for you, the difference will be different stats. But yeah, that's pretty much it. So now if I, let's do this one for shiv metal, which doesn't really make sense. And then let's do shiv bone. Do a different icon for that as well, which is the crosshair. Cool. And then on start, now we'll most likely need to adjust these placements because they won't work with the shift that well. And that's kind of the thing. Most likely you'll need to set up multiple. And then here what you basically do is you create a check condition to see what type of weapon you're equipping. If it's like rogue, for example, if you actually want to where you want to instantiate the meshes. So that creates a lot of flexibility for different animation types, different places to do them. So you just add a check condition, and then basically do the weapon types. So yeah, you'll have to expand this a tiny bit, but it's about the core logic here, right? So on trigger, on start, let's we won't equip it, but we're going to add some more. So we're going to add shiv bone, shiv metal. There we go. So we can swap it out. There we go. So we've got metal. We tested that already. So this is the bone one. Now, as you can see, the holders don't really work that well for this. So this is kind of what I meant. Like, you can set up multiple and just add the condition for the type, or we can just kind of, you know, oh, we should set up one for the right hand holder as well. I forgot to do that. So what is this? 5.2. And let's just copy this over. There we go. And then this one, 5.2 as well. Oh, let's copy over the entire value. And then minus 5.2 for the right. There we go. Yeah, we didn't set up that one, so I kind of forgot to do that. So the left hand holder, and we need to do the right hand holder as well, which is just going to be the same item. So there we go, right hand holder. I did do a holder, right, on both? Yeah, okay, perfect. So let's give this a second try. So now the hammer will be a bit low. So yeah, that's kind of the point. You'll need to set up multiple just for the look and feel. Although this works, I'm good with that. It's not great. Anyway, so yeah, we got this. Yay, cool. Okay, let's get rid of that. Let's open up our inventory. Let's do the shiv. So we've got 2 swords here. And then we've got this. Yay. And then if we open up the inventory, we can equip this as well. And we'll have... they kind of look similar-ish. But yeah, they're stone. Now the thing is, and it's quite important to note, don't try to be too perfectionistic with the whole drawing, sheeting, and things like that. A lot of AAA games don't do that. You know, then most of the time they're just instantiating, and that's pretty much it. There's often not that much on drawing. Now there's a reason for that. Is the longer the draw animations, the more precise they are, the more it gets away of the gameplay. So, you know, in Assassin's Creed, basically, if you're walking like this and you have them on your back and you press the attack button, it will literally straight go to the attack animation. It completely skips the unsheathing. And that's not because it's the most realistic, but that's because it plays the best. Because otherwise long animations just get in the way and it becomes annoying. So don't overdo it with your sense of realism, basically. So yeah, just don't overdo it. And yeah, that's pretty much it. That's the entire setup. Let's get rid of this one as well, unequip, and which didn't unequip this. So one last check, and yeah, we can have melee as well. So really nice. Let's quickly have a look here. Of course, we didn't set this one to empty. We only emptied the left hand holder and not the right hand. So let's empty the right hand holder as well, and we're done and set up. So yeah, that's basically it. So that's how you can set up multiple well, with this setup, basically unlimited different types of weapons with different weapon types. Still have melee always available as well, even if you have nothing equipped. And I'll create tons of inventory items with different meshes, different stats, without having to create tons of different melee setups. So yeah, that's it's for this video. Hope you enjoyed this, and I'll see you in the next one.